Sell Miles Sanders. What's up, everyone? It's Eric, aka Doc, coming at you from the Triple Play YouTube channel. It's been a little bit. Hopefully, everybody's getting ready for the Super Bowl. I'm going to tell you why now is the prime time to sell Miles Sanders if you're playing in a Dynasty League. But speaking of the Super Bowl, the Chiefs are the underdogs, and we are now a proud partner of Underdog Fantasy. So when you use promo code TRIPLE, like Steph Curry hits from threes, you're going to get a deposit match up to $100. And they got over-under pick'ems, best balls, live drafts. We're going to be running a lot of them too. So make sure you keep your eyes out. But it's free money. Who doesn't like free stuff, right? But back to why now is the prime time to sell Miles Sanders. So looking at his receiving stats by year, and they have regressed. In his rookie season, he had 50 catches for 509 yards, followed by 28 catches for 197 yards. Last year, 26 catches for 158 yards. And then this past season, 20 catches for 78 yards. So not only are his receptions going down, but the yardage as well. And this is crucial in PPR leagues, which are now the norm and standard in the fantasy football industry. But going along with that, we're also going to look at the touchdowns by year. So he had 6 his rookie season, both 3 rushing and 3 receiving. Then he had 6 in 2020. Then in 2021, he had 0, and that was kind of an anomaly for his career, for especially as many touches as he had. And then this season, he had 11 rushing touchdowns. So talk about the other side of the spectrum. But all were rushing. So when you look and he's had 6, 6, 0, or 11, this is definitely the outlier. I'd expect that if he does stay with the Eagles, we probably see in that 5 to 6 range again. And the reason that it's probably in that area is because of Jalen Hurts, his upside. Now, this is his stats as a rushing quarterback. So he played 4 games started 4 games in his rookie season and had 3 rushing touchdowns. Now, in the 30 games he's played since then, he's had 23 rushing touchdowns, including many when they're in the goal line. So he's going to steal those end zone scores from Miles Sanders, and that's where a lot of the value comes from in fantasy. And one of the things that makes Jalen Hurts so great is that he is a dual threat and a mobile quarterback. So these rushing numbers aren't likely to go down anytime soon. Now, if you sell Miles Sanders now, you're probably selling at his peak value because he was running back 15 this past season on a PPR standard. He is playing in the Super Bowl, so the biggest stage. Just recently had a 2-touchdown game against the 49ers, and he's going to be an impending free agent, which is really going to drive his value in Dynasty. Now, if you've been paying attention to the playoffs, you might realize that he's already hit that peak. Because when you look at the workload between the 3-headed monster and the Eagles' backfield, Miles Sanders has actually not been the most productive running back. Now, he has the most carries at 28, but he has 132 yards and 2 touchdowns. Kenneth Gainwell only has 2 less carries than him, but has 28 more yards and a touchdown. And Boston Scott has 12 carries of his own for 53 yards and 2 touchdowns. So there's been 5 rushing touchdowns from Eagles running backs, once again, not including Jalen Hurts. So Miles Sanders isn't even getting the lion's share of the running back work. Just something to note. Now, the Eagles can replace him with a lot of free agents, and this isn't even to include the rookie running back class, because a lot of these running backs could find new homes. I can't remember a class this stacked in a while. Saquon Barkley obviously highlights the names. Kareem Hunt, Josh Jacobs does seem like he'll stay with the Raiders, but you never know in the NFL. Jeff Wilson, Alexander Madison, seems like we've been waiting for him to be an RB1. Tony Pollard expected to sign the franchise tag, but that's not official yet. Devin Singletary, David Montgomery, Damian Harris. And that's in addition to Gainwell and Scott still being on the roster. So I see a couple traits, or I see the 2 scenarios for Miles Sanders. The first is that he stays with the Eagles, and he likely has the quote-unquote starting role, but he regresses in terms of his touches, in terms of his touchdowns. Keep in mind, he also was relatively healthy this year, which hasn't been his strong suit in the past. Or he signs with another team. He gets a slightly larger role, but in a worse offense. And the Eagles were the number 2 scoring offense this season, so likely less red zone opportunities. Now, if you are going to sell Miles Sanders and you're taking my advice, thank you. But here are some trade candidates that I'd look for. And this isn't just my thoughts. I've put this out in polls for people that do Dynasty, that create content as well. And these were some of the names they threw out. Jahan Dotson, a young wide receiver for Washington that is likely on the incline. Jerry Jeudy, who just had a kind of down year but locked into the Denver offense where they just brought in Sean Payton. Hollywood Brown, his value is going down with Kyler Murray out, but still relatively young. Getting a late first or mid-second that you could flip into a younger running back. Or Drake London, a wide receiver that showed he had a great target share, but just wasn't in a very pass-happy offense in his rookie season. But obviously the talent is there. So for all of these reasons, I think now is the perfect time to sell Miles Sanders. See if you can put some feelers out there for somebody that might be looking to go all in next year or a Phillies fan. They're always good to get the bait. But for everybody that watches Triple Play Fantasy, make sure you like, subscribe, comment. We'll catch you guys on the next one and enjoy the Super Bowl.